Hey guys, Sableye VGC here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different on the channel. We are going to go through my Players Cup 2 matches and basically just analyze how things went and talk about my plays and what I was thinking in each scenario. So I'm actually going to do this as a whole tournament experience thing here. So kind of just what I was thinking during the tournament as well, outside of just that individual match as well. Just to kind of give you guys a mindset on what what kind of goes through your mind here in some of these tournaments. But you guys can see my team up on top, Zee's team down on the bottom, as it does actually disappear quickly. So I am going to just put that back up on the screen for you guys so you guys can see it quickly. And basically in open team sheet formats, guys, I'm looking at things on his side of the field that stick out, or their side of the field that stick out, I should say. And in this case, to me, Will-O-Wisp on the Dusclops, something that's definitely notable, and I need to keep an eye out for that. As well, along with Hurricane Moltres, so they don't have a reliable way to technically hit a move outside of Rain, outside of Max, so I can rely on that in the endgame if I need to. No Steel move on the Horse is also really important here. And Eerie Impulse on the Togedemaru. Those are the big things that I take away from me. Those are the ones that stick out to me. Everything else is kind of quote-unquote standard. So that's how I kind of approach that. And we will go into the matchup now. As you can see, we are already in team preview right now. And Zee is a really, really good player. They've been around for a little bit, so we definitely know I definitely know that they know what they're doing. So regardless of that, we've got his team on their team on the field here. And okay, so my thought process here is Urshifu is phenomenal. Like, Urshifu is a phenomenal Pokemon. It covers the Trick Room option. The only thing it's really scared of is that Tapu Fini, but I think I can play around that with the Glacier and the Rotom. So I decide I'm going to force his hand here, go with the Urshifu and the Glacier. He doesn't have a way to slow down my Glacier either, which is phenomenal. So basically here, my thought process, if I can find a way to force his hand into going after Urshifu and not after my Glacier, that's the way I want to do it. And we see the Moltres Togedemaru lead right now, and I'm very, very content with this. So basically, you guys saw it's open team sheets, and you would see this outside of open team sheets as well. He only has one ground immunity, and really only one ground switch in as well, and that would be the Moltres. And it's on the field beside that Togedemaru. So my thought process here is really, really straightforward, nothing really too crazy. Protect my Urshifu, get either Rotom in or Tapu Fini in. Of course, Rotom is the better switch into the flying move. So of course, get that Rotom in here, get my Glacier on the field, get my Max Glacier on the field, and just launch a Quake into this Togedemaru here. There's not a lot they can do against this. And basically, it's just one of those things where Horse, like, guys, I'm going to be honest here. I felt this matchup was very, very heavily in my favor. Like, okay, sure, they can self-volt switch to proc policy, but it's not, they can't break Rotom, Fini, and Glacier. Like, they cannot break the combination of those three. From what I've seen in my practice, from what I've seen leading up, and even what I saw in team preview, I don't see a way he breaks these three. Especially getting the special defense boost from Max Quake here. So they do actually decide to Dynamax their Moltres immediately right here, and like I said, guys, I'm very content at this point, and honestly, throughout this match, it's going to be a lot of me saying I'm content at this point because it's very favorable for me, and I don't think they're going to be able to break this Horse. So we're going to see what the big question is. What does Togedemaru want to do? Because they could just simply Volt Switch off themselves rather than threaten with the Fake Out pressure, but they do play it straightforward here, going for that quick Fake Out into the Rotom right there, and of course, Rotom takes that very, very well, along with this Airstream. Not the greatest damage that I would have liked. I would have liked to take a little bit less from that, but at the end of the day, that is a max move going into a Mon that's doing less than half. And Rotom has like no HP. So I'm very content with this, and basically this is just going to bring them down to sturdy. Actually, I think they were Sash. I think they were, it's either Sash or sturdy. Basically, I knew they were going to live this on 1 HP. It is the Sash, because they have to be Lightning Rod. So that makes a lot of sense, and I knew that if I was actually paying attention to the team sheets during this match analysis, I would have gotten that off, or I would have stated that, I should say. But basically here, long story short, there's not a lot that can really happen right now. So I'm free to just click Max Ice into this Moltres here. If they want to self-proc, they can go ahead and do that and get Togedemaru off the field. And they do actually decide to do that. And I mean, we have a horse on the field that has an assault vest that even at +2, this Moltres is not going to do nearly that much anything, barely anything to this horse basically. It's not going to touch my Glacier right now. And Glacier is very content. They're actually bringing in their Heatran here, which I also found kind of shocking. I know they're Shuka Berry, but the fact that they are Shuka Berry is interesting to me because they're just willing to sacrifice their Shuka Berry to make a switch in. And I think at this point they were just trying to preserve pieces, because I don't know if they really had much of a game plan, or maybe they expected this to do a whole lot more. But either way, we're going to go right after the Moltres right here with this Hailstorm. And as you guys can see, it does crazy amounts of damage right there. And the Darkness, by the way, just brings this Glacier back down to neutral special defense stat rather than at +1, which it was. I know I'm giving him the Berserk. I didn't know that damage calc. It might have been enough to pick it up. I know it was going to do a lot of damage. I didn't know if it was going to kill or not. As you guys can see there, it didn't. But once again, I am still very, very comfortable right now. And quick switch out for Rotom right now, because that, to me, that's the Mon he wants to knock out. Right? In this scenario, you kill the Rotom, that's a Mon you can at least kill before the max ends up, before the max is over. So I get Finian, you can no longer kill the Finny onto switching because you don't have a way to hit it reliably. And Glacier just sits in here and gets mad damage off. So Finny's going to come in, and they're actually going to make a really good play here and target the Glacier, maybe expecting me to swap out Rotom, which is a really good play on their end right now. But like I said, I've run this matchup, and I'm very confident that this is not going to kill me. But we get the Max Darkness off, and it actually does do a fair amount of damage to Glacier right now. And I know I'm -1 special defense, but I'm still comfortable in the fact that I'm taking this Flash Cannon. Like, this horse is an absolute beast. I know I'm -1, but that basically counteracts the Assault Vest. And as you guys can see, I actually do die, and they do crit my Glacier right there. And like I've been saying, guys, I was comfortable with living that. And based on the damage it did, I was very comfortable. I think maybe I'd take it. I know it was going to bring me down to red, but I'm very confident in taking that. But regardless of that, regardless of spreads aside and crits aside, we're still not in a horrible spot. He's coming off of his Dynamax. We're bringing in our Urshifu right now to threaten with some Sucker Punches, because we do have that, and he knows we have it as well, right? So this is the interesting part to me about open team sheets, right? And I'm not a big fan of this concept. Yeah, it's cool, it's great in online play because it prevents cheating and everything like that. And it's an interesting element to the game. To me, it takes out the element of trying to pick up on information throughout the game and utilizing that later. It's actually just utilizing the information that you have immediately, which is a different element, and I don't mind that. I just don't like it as much. So now we still have mind games here. They could very easily switch in and out to stop this Sucker Punch, basically, right? But basically, English is a hard language. I basically decided to say, you know what, they played very straightforward turn 1. I wonder if they're just going to play straightforward again here. So they actually decided to bring in the Togedemaru and let me get my Sucker Punch off into the Moltres here. Had they protected their Moltres, they probably would have been in a very, very good spot. However, we do drop the Moltres there, and this Togedemaru just comes in and takes a death. So he's got no fake out pressure. He's lost his big sweeper into Moltres, and we still have 3 Pokemon that are basically going to decimate their team here. So at this point, I'm very, very content in winning game 1. I'm basically locked this up in the back of my head as long as I don't click dumb moves, we should have this game win. They do bring in a Tapu Fini, which does bring a little bit more of an issue, but at this point, Heatran can't protect because thanks to Urshifu's Unseen Fist ability, so that is a free close combat to pick off that knockout. And I actually may have protected here on the Urshifu because I actually just wanted to get chip damage off first, but I actually don't remember. So we'll see what I ended up doing here. I wasn't actually too sure of how I wanted to play this, but as you can see me contemplating on the screen right now. And basically, I honestly don't remember how I closed out this game 1. I really don't remember. And you guys do see now, and as I see right now, we are just going to simply go for the Calm Mind, and I think I just clicked CC. Yeah. And I do just click CC, and that is the right play because, like I said, Heatran can't protect in front of me. We know this is going to pick up the knockout, and as you see there, the Heatran does actually straight up drop. So now it's a Tapu Fini, an Urshifu, and a Rotom versus this solo Tapu Fini on my opponent's side of the field here. And there's not a lot they can do. As you can see, they do make the right play there of going for the Calm Mind, just basically trying to match what I'm doing to them. And I'm okay with this because now we're getting free Wicked Blows off. And I know it's not going to do a lot of damage, but free Wicked Blows are free Wicked Blows. We also see that their Tapu Fini is faster than my Tapu Fini, which is not great because now we still have to figure out the Rotom and their Tapu Fini speed tiers. Right? At this spot, I'm like, well, if they outspeed Rotom, we could technically still lose this game to some Muddy Water accuracy drops and stuff like that. So I do still have to play this game relatively safe. And like I said, guys, I didn't want to start protecting here. I wanted to get just a Wicked Blow damage off because there's a chance he tries to call my protect and they go for Calm Minds again, and then he just starts setting up. At least this way we get through that and they can't really do too much, and they do just drop the Dazzling Gleam. And of course Urshifu never gonna take that. There's no way Urshifu is gonna take that without its sash. And we're gonna just basically set up another Calm Mind here. So at this point we've got the stat boost advantage with our Fini, and we've got a Rotom coming back in. So I'm very content closing out this end game here, and I've already kind of started thinking about game 2, right? At this point, it's click buttons, win game 1, and go from there and start considering game 2. How do you think they're going to adjust? Do I want to reveal anything here that maybe shouldn't be revealed? Of course, that's not as big of a deal here in open team sheet formats, but we are going to see that the Rotom actually on our side of the field is faster than their Tapu Fini, which is phenomenal information for us moving forward into game 2. And obviously very, very, very helpful in us closing out game 1 as well, right? So, and they're actually going to Calm Mind again right here, which honestly, in my opinion, is a little bit greedy. They had their berry, they were getting it back up. I honestly think they needed to just Muddy Water there. However, we are going to take advantage of this. We are going to just drop a Moonblast here into their Tapu Fini. And at this point, with our Rotom being faster, this game is officially over as I drop a Thunderbolt here. But, like I said, into game 2, how do I want to adapt? And I'm going to actually pull up the team again. Just to both matchups again, just to kind of get a little bit more of a concept of what I was thinking out here. So, obviously we took game 1, and what do I see on their team that they could be using to potentially counter what I just did, right? In the back of my mind, I have to be wary, like I said originally, of that Dusclops with that Will-O-Wisp. They know my Glacier kind of just ran over them. And as long as I play my Glacier right, I was still content, right? Glacier and Tapu Fini, that combination, as long as we're in misty terrain, this Dusclops doesn't scare my Glacier, right? So I was still content, and I decided to say, you know what, I'm very content with this. I'm going to kind of stick it out, same game plan, and just see what happens, basically. I have the game advantage, so there was really no reason for me to risk changing things up. So, basically, you're about to see me lock in the same thing, the same exact thing in team preview right here. And, like, it's nothing too crazy. I think I may have led Rotom this time. I don't remember fully, to be perfectly honest. This was the first match of the day, so it's a bit hazy for me. But I do decide to go with the same thing, and honestly, that doesn't surprise me here. Like I said, we know that they are scared of what I'm doing, but I don't see a way that they actually stop what I'm doing. And because I don't see a way for them to fully adapt to what I'm doing, there's no reason for me to try to change things here and potentially help him, or help them, I should say, get away from the game plan. So, we're going to see what they want to do. And you're going to get Heatran and Tapu Fini. So they do mix it up here, which is not too surprising, but it does bother me a little bit. Because, as you guys saw in Game 1, they had their Max Quake switching on the field, right? So, with their Max Quake switching on the field, I was free to just drop Max Quakes and get my special defense boost up. Now, at this point, I have to make a call. Do I want to Quake? Do I want to, like, Knuckle? What do I want to do here? Because in my mind, I don't want to call this, right? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, obviously Heatran is the one that's scared of the Max Quake, right? I gotta be scared of the Heatran. I gotta go after the Heatran with the Max Quake here, so maybe I can go after the Heatran. But if they call that and they can bring in the Moltres, that's fine. And then I thought to myself, what are the chances they bring in Moltres for Tapu Fini? And I didn't think that was very likely, so that's what I went ahead and did. And I believe I just left Urshifu on the field with a Detect, is what I believe I decided to do. Yeah. I do decide to detect here, and that's one of the things where I'm just indecisive. I don't want to launch a CC and potentially lower my stats, which obviously, as you can see there, would have actually worked out pretty well. But the more important part here is we are Dynamaxing, and they are not swapping out this Tapu Fini. And we are getting some extra Quake damage and a special defense boost again. So this horse putting in mad work right now for us here. And honestly, I don't expect this to be doing a lot to the Tapu Fini. I really don't. Like, I'll be shocked if I do like over 50%. It's probably going to do about 40, somewhere in there. And I do detect, but I feel like we're probably going to see like a Calm Mind. You actually do just Dazzling Gleam though. So they did Dazzling Gleam. And of course, AV Horse, gonna basically eat that for breakfast. He's like, did you guys hear anything? Like, he barely felt that. And the Max Quake's going out into the Tapu Fini just around 45, maybe closer to 50%. Somewhere in that range right there, which is very, very consistent damage. And at this point, with the special defense boost up again, I just preserve Urshifu for the late game and just get some chip damage here. And the reason I go for the Knuckle here is because, like I said, they still potentially have that Moltres in the back, right? And the fact that they could have that Moltres in the back is very, very horrifying. So I can't really safely go for Quake anymore. And so we're going to go for the Knuckle and get the attack boost because, hey, why not? As we do bring in a Rotom actually, which now that I look at it is not the safest play because if they would have gone for like something like a Muddy Water, could have been a little bit detrimental right there. But they are going to actually go for the Volt Switch. And I was a little scared, I'm not going to lie, when I saw the Volt Switch happen. I was like, I wonder if they're going to Volt Switch immediately off themselves here to proc a Policy. I don't think it would have helped them too much, because I think they would have taken too much damage from that. But I will definitely say it was a thought that crossed my mind that they could have gone for it. But either way, we are going to get this Max Knuckle off into the Heatran, which is massive amounts of damage into one of his threats to my side of the field. So we're chilling right now, and I don't see a reason to start switching around. Glacier is in a phenomenal position, and I think it's a free Hailstorm, basically. Like, I target the Moltres. I'm +1 attack. If he wants to protect, I don't care. Heatran doesn't scare my horse. And at this point, I think I just dropped a Thunderbolt. Or I might have actually swapped the Fini. I don't actually remember what I did here. I think either way is respectable. As you can tell, I'm very indecisive as I just go up and down on the Switch controller there, but I do actually bring in the Fini, so that is I think that is the safer play. Basically, it's basically saying if they want to max their Moltres here, it's going to go into Fini, and it's going to be a Darkness, and Fini's going to be able to take that. That way they don't get it. There's no way they get a knockout this turn. It's basically what's happening here. And I think that's best case for me here, because they do have the max advantage right now. And with the max advantage, they actually choose to max the Heatran, which is very shocking to me. It's a very low health mon, and it's honestly not his fastest mon either. So I have an Urshifu in the back who can just pick this thing off. As we see a Fiery Wrath come out from the Moltres, and that did absolutely nothing. Heatran is going to drop a Flare right there, and look at Glacier. Glacier's an absolute beast. That did absolutely nothing. Can we discuss how little that did? But regardless of that, Hailstorm going to come out right now, and just going to pick off this Moltres here. It is a free kill right now into the Moltres. I had that every day of the week. If they bring in something like a Togedemaru or a Tapu Fini, it's still taking big damage. The Hail's going to start chipping them pretty soon. And basically all I'm saying is this horse is putting in bad work right now. And I think that's the summary of this match. I don't know what else to say about this match other than the fact that I preserved horse very, very well. And then I left the Urshifu in the back to clean with the Fini. Like, everything right there just seemed to work so well. And like I said, the matchup was just I think phenomenal in my favor. And shoutouts to Zee, he played really well. He tried to pivot and tried to make the calls to get back into this game. I just don't think there was enough that he could have done to actually pull it back. Like, I think his win con maybe would have been getting Fini set up a little bit earlier. Like, their win con getting Fini set up pretty early. And just get those Calm Mind boosts up and then pressure me with some quick Muddy Waters. But I think once again, my Rotom shuts that down as well. But either way, we are going to see, they're going to try to get that Calm Mind up here. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Try to get that Fini up and win that endgame. I think that's basically what they were going for at this point. However, we're going to just keep going. We're going to match that. We're going to match that Calm Mind for Calm Mind here, basically. And at this point, as long as we get our Calm Minds up, we're in a very favorable position. And we also see, which is very important to note, that Tapu Fini is faster than their Heatran was. So because Tapu Fini was faster than their Heatran, we're in a very, very favorable spot because we're not forced into Urshifu here. If their Heatran was faster, we may have been forced into Urshifu here because we have to get rid of the Heatran before it starts stacking up damage under last turn of max. And yes, I'm going into Urshifu anyways, but that's only because I still have my Sash, and it forces them to go into Urshifu basically. It forces them to Gleam rather than go for something like another Calm Mind basically. And I am going to Detect here, and I'm just going to drop a Moonblast here into the Fini. At this point, I'm not too concerned with what this Heatran was going to do here. It's just closing out the game and stalling out their max. And speaking of which, there's the max guard, and not that that was a way I was going to lose the game, but if I do attack into the max guard there and I lose my Urshifu, my Urshifu goes down to Sash, it does make things a little bit more complicated with Fake Out Pressure into back from the Togedemaru. So I did decide to protect there and cover that option. As we do see the Moonblast is going to crit him in return. That one I think mattered. I don't think it mattered incredibly, but I mean, he did crit my horse twice in both matches, so in both games here. So like, I mean, it's something in my favor. I mean, I don't think it mattered in the long run. We still have a Rotom Heat in the back. He's got a Togedemaru, and if I really needed to here, I could swap out Urshifu. But at this point, it's just a double into the Heatran. A Muddy Water and a close combat at this point cleans this one up. And as you can see, they do decide to forfeit right there. And we are going to go to 1-0 in Players Cup. And just something really, really quickly here before we stop this analysis here, that starting 1-0 in a double elimination bracket is phenomenal. It is a huge boost in momentum. And honestly, Zee was one of the players in my bracket that I was most scared of. So being able to get the win, I know it was a favorable matchup, but being able to get the win is absolutely phenomenal. And we will be back with round 2, guys, in the next video. So stay tuned for that, and thank you guys for watching this one.